Hi, I'm Bill Lampton, the Biz Communication Guy, with an important question. What's the impression that you make when you have a telephone conversation with somebody you don't know? What is the impression you make when you have a telephone conversation with somebody you don't know? In our business and corporate life, that's going to be a very important factor. It's been well over 20 years since I had my first telephone conversation with Dan, a very prominent businessman in Kentucky. The impression that I got was that Dan was distant, cold, not interested in talking with me, not a very good prospect, not a person that I would really even want to share lunch or coffee with. Very distant. And yet, the fact was, when I met Dan, walked into his office a few weeks later, it was almost as though he wanted to give me a bear hug. He was gracious. He was friendly. He was open. He was receptive. But the first impression on the telephone didn't let me know that. So it's important for us to examine whether we are turning people on, turning them away, turning them off, or whether we are attracting them with our phone conversations. Yes, I teach people how to speak to groups, how to lead meetings, how to conduct interviews, how to be interviewed, all of that. Maybe I should be teaching more about something we do quite frequently, and that's our use of the telephone. A few tips here. Number one, to make the best impression, put aside all distractions. You cannot really relate effectively and constructively and personably if you are looking at your calendar, if you're reading a memo somebody sent you, if you're looking at your to-do list. Clear everything that could be a distraction. And the only notes that you could possibly have would be notes pertaining to that phone conversation. Another item would be, and I found this helpful, really picture that individual that you're going to be talking with. Get a mental picture of them. If you have a photograph of them or a photo online, look at that before you call them. It makes them become a little more real to you. Imagine that instead of talking over the telephone, you're sitting side by side in your office in chairs that are comfortable and seated in close proximity. Or imagine that you're in a restaurant talking very informally. Picture that person. And then a third tip that I would give would be record some of your greetings that you use in initiating phone calls. You can do this in a practice session. You don't have to be on a phone, just any recording device. It won't take more than 30 seconds. Listen and determine, are you the kind of person that people want to receive audibly? Do they hear you and they find out, yes, this person has a pulse. Yes, this person is worth listening to. And then one final suggestion. In addition to all these, if you believe that you're not using the telephone as effectively as you could, work with a communication coach. I'm available, many others are, and an objective, constructive coach can transform your telephone mannerisms, your habits, and your vocal skills so that you become the person that people really want to hear and talk with on the telephone. Thanks for being with me today for this brief tip. I'm Bill Lampton, the Biz Communication Guy.